Hey guys, I thought we agreed upon wearing leather jackets. Is that not part of the sort of the idea for today's show that we're doing that? Liam, you on?
You did.
None of you got leather jackets on. What's wrong with you guys? I thought we agreed that we were going to wear leather jackets for the show today.
Oh yeah, well I can see you dyed your hair grey.
Yeah, but something had to go. Well, welcome to the special edition of Mystockscanner Live, powered by the 3-Point Playbook. Today, we're spotlighting the company that's driving the AI revolution. It's reshaping the entire industry and rewriting what's possible in the markets. Of course, NVIDIA we're talking about. We'll cut through the hype, decode the numbers, and run the markets most watched stock through the same questions that we always ask of stocks. Is it a quality stock? Does it have an upside? And is now the right time to buy? I can say yes for two of them without even knowing anything about stocks. The last one about the timing, we shall see. Liam Flavel and Hans-Henrik Nielsen, the two guys without leather jackets. Let's get the verdict on NVIDIA's numbers last night. And I want them in 3 words or less. Hans-Henrik, you go first.
Amazing as expected.
As expected. That was 3 words, wasn't it, Liam?
Bloody hell, impressive.
It is, and I can see that you put on the name tag of me, so there's 2 Jesper Barons of the show. That's going to be an interesting show that I'll get to speak twice.
No, I'm dumbing down.
It will be all NVIDIA today, but also we will get into other companies who will benefit from the fine numbers that NVIDIA put out last night. Who will go green today in the heels of NVIDIA? We'll see how our users and members did in guessing the pre-market bump that NVIDIA is standing to get. And surprise, surprise, the White House is looking to clear the way for NVIDIA chips to be exported. Interestingly enough, it happens on the day after Jensen Huang visited the White House. A coincidence? I think not. But what says Liam and Hans-Henrik? Finally, we will talk about the bubble at the end of the show, because after yesterday's earning, you will hear the truth. Are we in a bubble? Are we out of a bubble? Is it going to burst? And we also have number of the day. That's 14.6%. What that is, we will also get to at the end of the show. But this is an NVIDIA special, and it's all about the biggest company in the world, standing currently at $5 trillion in valuation. Liam, shouldn't that number be up a little bit?
I strongly suspect it might be in the next 12 months or so.
Okay, but if I look at the numbers right now, 2.85, it was up yesterday, and 5% in pre-market. That's almost 8%. And if we do 5 trillion, whoa, we're close to another trillion added to NVIDIA.
Let's have a look at it. I'll just share my screen quickly, and we'll go through it on our system. On the playbook page, it's going to be no surprise to anyone that we've got a stocks quality score of 100. I mean, I think it's probably the top. I haven't actually looked at the ranking sort of scores themselves, and if anyone's higher than that. But there aren't going to be many companies better. So our 3-point playbook basically asks us 3 questions on a stock when we want to look to see if we're going to buy one. And the first question is this a quality stock? Everyone knows NVIDIA. You'd have to be living under a rock, I would guess. No, actually, I was talking to my mother about it last night, and she said, "Who's NVIDIA?" But she's about 912, so yeah. So we've got the quality score. yeah, exactly. It's called Orpington. We have a quality score of 100. We have earnings that are lackluster and bored, but then it starts shooting up with the rise of the AI. Whether the gains coming forward are actually priced in or not. And if that's below 2.5, then it shows still room for the stock to grow out there. Got revenues again shooting up a bit like
Is he breaking up?
And we've got
breaking up a little bit, Liam. You're breaking up, just so you probably have to repeat the last bit about where we were talking about revenue here.
Oh, no, well, the revenues are shooting up. The analysts love the stock. The returns on capital, on equity, and investment are going through the roof, and we're generating a fair amount of cash out there as well. So everything is in the green. Everything is looking good. The only thing that's not is the health score. Quite an old system. It was developed by someone called Joseph Petrosky. I think it came out in 2002, the original one. So it's a bit antiquated now for this day and age, and we may actually drop it out of the playbook side of things. But it's an incredibly high quality stock. But the key question that we want to ask ourselves is, yes, it's high quality, but is it good value? Would we buy it now? And that comes back to your a question just now about, is it still worth 5 trillion? What's it worth going forward? If we look here at our value chart, and this basically plots based on the company's performance and its historical PE values, price equity values, or price earnings values, where does the stock sit in the future as well, based on what the analysts think we're going to get to? And we project out a couple of years. So we've got the end of January, the company reports its full-year earnings, and then January 2027, we've got year 2 for now. And we can see here that if we just take next year's, the earnings coming up in a couple of months, we're pretty expensive for the stock. But if we're willing to hold for a year, then we think we could be up somewhere between 11% and 80%. And the analysts think the stock's got 26% to rise from there. So in our eyes, if it goes up by the 43-50%, which our base case says, this could be worth 7.5 trillion in a year's time, which is a staggering amount of money.
It is an insane amount of money, and I can't help looking at the chart because that you had on the screen right there. Because if we quickly, basically, I'm almost going to say go back in time. The thing is that this is Jensen. Almost in his garage when he started the company, and for a long time it didn't go anywhere. You could see that on the chart you just had up. You can bring it back up again. And this is also before he got a leather jacket. He probably couldn't afford it back then.
Yeah, but he's got your hair.
He does indeed,
Yeah.
and that's always a good sign. That's a good sign. And let's not talk about Hans-Henrik here. But if you bring up the chart again that we just had, then the thing is that you basically, I'm almost going to say, can show that there was a long time where the company didn't go anywhere.
It didn't go anywhere. The company makes graphic processing units. That's what it generally does. So what drives what you see on your monitor is what the graphic processor unit does. And the reason it's separate from the other chips is because it does maths really, really well, really quickly, really efficiently. What happens when you go to AI? AI is basically it's a vectors. So it translates some text or something into a series of vectors that then you can query and say, give me with this math solution, give me the numbers coming out of it. So hey presto, the stuff that NVIDIA have been good at for years actually translated into this is really, really good for AI as well. And that's why you can see this massive rise from about 2023 when ChatGPT came out. It came out around this level, around here in 2022. Everyone started realizing, wow, there's something in this, and what we need is what NVIDIA have already got in place. And that's when they started building out their new sort of roadmap of their chips. So you can see that being seen. Here you can see the massive dip into April when everyone thought the world was going to end and Trump was going to sort of put tariffs and everything, and global trade would stop on its ear and things, and then it's powered above there. Coming back to, I mean, that's the second question of the playbook answered is it undervalued? Actually, if you look at next year's potential earnings, it's cheap. If you look even 2 years out, it's even cheaper probably, which is weird to think of the most expensive company in the world. And lastly, is it in a good place to buy? We tend to look at moving averages and our own indicators down here. We've got the MTI indicator, which is our momentum indicator, which tells us whether the stock is in a solid, good, strong uptrend. And it's just dipped into the red for the last month or so on our MTI. So and you can see the trend starting to break down here, and yeah, that's what the indicator is telling us, that the strength has gone out and the investors aren't as interested currently. So the stock has dropped a bit. Then we use this 50-day and this 200-day moving average, which is simply the average of the last 50 or 200-day closes on the stock. And what you see here is the stock tends to use this as a bit of support. When it hits there, buyers come in and say, okay, I think this stock is cheap now. We're gonna buy some more, and this is what's happened here.
Can I add a quick detail here? And that is just the reason why Liam does this, because many people are impressed by the numbers that came out yesterday, and then they run out and buy on the numbers. We don't ever do that. We simply make this analysis to make sure it's not just a good earnings report, but actually well priced as well.
If we then ask our members and also people from ActiaSnack who are watching the show, the thing is that we asked them in the poll, the Tuesday poll, in regards to what they were expecting at market opening today. And let's just use the numbers that we have right now. It's up by 5%, close to 5% right now. And if we look into Aktieanalyse, ActiaSnack and members, they were not too far off, Hans-Henrik.
No, they were not. And it was a bit like, I wouldn't say expected, but they were in the 2 to 4 and 4 to 6% range, both up and down actually. They were both looking at, some of them were a bit optimistic and say, we think they're coming out with good numbers. So we think they will open today when US market opens, they will open with 2 to 4% up. And then there was some saying, yeah, we think that this is a bit of a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing. Everyone in the comments actually thought they would produce some stellar results, which they did. They beat on everything, went up on margins and revenue, and that guidance. The guidance was massive. They basically said we can't keep up with demand. But there were still some people saying that was in the 12 to 15% range, saying we actually think it will drop on this, even though we think the numbers will be good. And that is a bit sometimes of the puzzle we need to figure out in the market. That is that even though let's say NVIDIA comes out with stellar numbers, which they did and which was kind of expected, the stock can actually drop. Doesn't seem like it will today in the pre-market. It is 5% up or so, but it could have happened. And I wouldn't completely rule out that it can jump up 5%, and then we will see some sellers coming in and saying, yeah, this was kind of what we expected, so we might be taking some profit off the table.
We shall see. One thing for sure is that we always stick to our strategies. We have been in NVIDIA for a long time, and I can hear that we're definitely staying there. But then again, if you feel that it's a little bit expensive, then you might look elsewhere, in that sense that we could start to look at other companies and say, who will benefit from this bump? Liam and Hans-Henrik, I know that you both have been looking at stocks that will benefit from the bump that NVIDIA pre-market is standing to gain, and the numbers that they put out yesterday. And there we go, a good friend of NVIDIA. Should we say that?
Yeah, we should maybe just disclaim that we own NVIDIA stocks in our portfolio, but we also own TSM, Taiwan Semiconductors. And what some private investors think, they are looking at NVIDIA and saying, oh, they are producing the chips, that's amazing. But they actually don't. They design the chip and sell the chip and all that stuff, but it's actually Taiwan Semiconductors that is doing the hard work, if I may say so, the producing work at least. So when we sat down, we have done this for a while now, and looked at, okay, if NVIDIA is actually going to hit it out the park completely, then who could benefit? And Taiwan Semiconductors is definitely one. They produce the Blackwell chip, and well, Liam, you can correct me if I'm wrong about some of the technicalities here. But Jensen Huang basically said yesterday the Blackwell chips are, the second they come out of the factory, they're just they're gone again.
They had, because there was a scare recently that the older chips would not be particularly useful, but there was an auction this year in CoreWeave for some chips from 2022, and they got snapped up immediately. There was no hesitation from people. So there's strong demand even for the older stuff.
Yeah, I'll just say I'll not go in depth with the 3-point playbook analysis on these different stocks. I'm just showing the point one to say that Taiwan Semiconductors is a fantastic quality company. Another one
And we're
is
72% up in it so far in our positioning.
oh yeah, well that is worth
Yeah,
mentioning
that's a small point.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another stock here is Samsung, a South Korean Samsung. Maybe a bit of an outsider, but they are pushing quite hard on this HBM, isn't it? What it's called, Liam?
High
Bandwidth
bandwidth
memory.
Yeah.
And as far as I could read, they have actually slashed their prices somewhat simply to get ahead in this and really make a push into this market.
I think they've had to, because HK Hynix is, I would say, probably a better supplier,
That is
and
actually
maybe
another one I
slightly
have
bigger,
on the
more
list here.
successful. Yeah, I mean, they both make high bandwidth memory, but high bandwidth memory is basically all this AI needs a lot of memory to run, and it needs to be very, very connected with the processes via a very quick, what they call bus. We used to call it buses, but it's a transmission mechanism. And high bandwidth basically means you can throw a whole chunk of data down there, and it'll get to the place really, really quickly that you need it to.
The one thing that's for sure is that we will see a ripple effect today. We saw that in the aftermarket last night in the US, because as you mentioned already, Samsung, one of the stocks, went up by 5% in aftermarket yesterday, but also other stocks really went that way. CoreWeave, your favorite, Liam, went up by 10% in the aftermarket. SMCI went up by 5.7%. Is that also sort of, where if you're an investor today, should try to see what's happening to other stocks and even competitors to NVIDIA?
If I may quickly say there, what we have looked at mostly is actually who is delivering to NVIDIA. So that could be Hynix, it could be another one is Micron Technology. The ones making the machines is ASML that we know from the Dutch company. So we have mostly looked at if NVIDIA is really exploding, who will they drag with them up? Who do they need to actually be able to deliver this insane amount of chips that they're planning to do?
And then I'll take a jump from the sort of fiscal side, the money side, and into the political side, because there was a piece of news this morning that the guy living in this house, I'm sorry, I don't have the ballroom in this picture right now. He's called Little Piggy. No, sorry, Trump. He lives here. He has asked Congress to reject the bill blocking NVIDIA chip export. That is somewhat important, guys.
It could be viewed as a taco moment as well. Suddenly realize, we might need these chips. There's a whole host of politics going on here where China is actually saying they don't need the chips. They don't want the chips. The government is actively encouraging all the companies in China to go their home develop route, which is key for them going forward. And they're working hard to develop their own equivalents to this. But the White House move, it's an interesting one. Is rolling back the threat of tariffs and sort of dialing down the rhetoric going out there to people. The one thing that Chinese have got, rare earth minerals. You can't make chips without them as much. You can't make magnets. You can't fly your planes, your jet planes, your missiles and things like that. And I think that's probably more about this than anything else.
And without getting into the whole tariff war, the thing is that I also saw a piece of news that China haven't bought any soybeans in the last 2 months. Well, it's nothing to do with chips, but again, it's a bargaining chip on the table.
Chips and beans.
Chips and beans. It sounds like something you should serve up at Taco Bell at the moment. But Hans-Henrik, I'm turning to you now, because one of the things that we have seen sort of taking a big dive in the market, it's not related to NVIDIA, but then maybe it is after today. Crypto has been on a downturn where it's just been stumbling from 120,000 for a Bitcoin to close to $90,000. Some of the money might get back into that, because now that you have a little relief that NVIDIA is doing so well, you might be willing to take risk again.
Yeah, the thing is that in the beginning, way back in, let's say, 10 years ago, crypto was viewed as a bit of a hedge. So that would go up when the market dropped. But basically today, it's just the market on steroids. It's what is called a high beta alternative. So it moves in the same direction as a market, just more volatile. So what this movement in Bitcoin is showing us, we have several different ways of measuring if the market is mostly risk on, meaning all the risky stuff is being bought, or is risk off, meaning it's the more conservative stuff being bought. And when we see something like this, it's not that we are trading crypto in any way, but we are trying to get as many parameters as possible, showing us the weather in the markets. And a drop like this is definitely risk off. There's a lot of different things playing in here. There's some of the ETFs that are where a lot of money has been drawn out. But basically, this tells us that it's still risk off. There was a bit of a bounce yesterday in Bitcoin here, and also in the other, a bit smaller Ethereum that many people know. But it's not really anything heavy. So what I was looking at when the NVIDIA numbers came out yesterday was if they were good, were crypto following the market up? Because if people were really starting, not just putting money in NVIDIA, but putting money in everything, as you said, CoreWeave and all that stuff, if people are really, really risk on and were saying we want everything AI, then crypto would probably follow it up. And right now it doesn't.
We shall see. Again, it's one of the things that you guys keep an eye out for all day long. You really look at the indicators, and some of the things can, of course, be seen on our webpage, mystockscanner.com. Today, we're not taking that many questions in regards to NVIDIA. We're trying to sort of clean the table with them, but normally do send us questions at fomo@mystockscanner.com. At the end, guys, everybody has been talking an AI bubble. We didn't see a deflation of it, that's for sure, and we didn't see a burst of it. What's the status? Let both of you have the word. Liam, let's start with you. How's the feeling about the bubble? Intact and well, or how do we put it?
It's in a bubble. It's going to be in a bubble for quite a while. I think the amount of money still pouring in, still being promised over the next even 5 years is huge. I don't think it will last 5 years. I think something will give in that time, probably around how the hell do we make money out of this? Because that's the question that no one's actually really answered. In my tech roundup today, Tech Thursday article that I posted on the platform earlier, I posted on the platform earlier, I think Gemini is going to be the winner out of this. They've got everything. They've got the chips, they've got the data centers, they've got the clients, they've got the applications.
Did you just kill OpenAI here?
Yeah.
I've said for a couple of weeks now to you guys, I don't think OpenAI will exist in a few years. It will probably be bought out.
And we actually speculated a bit on because Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway, went out buying Google stocks the other day, and we didn't really get it because we said that is too expensive. He normally don't buy stuff that is that expensive unless he knows something we don't. And now the Gemini 3 came out, and this might be the thing he actually knew. About the bubble, I heard some commentators saying yesterday with the good NVIDIA numbers saying, yay, now there's no AI bubble, all the fear have been have disappeared. I would say on the contrary, because what the numbers showed yesterday, amazing NVIDIA numbers, is that people are buying NVIDIA chips no matter the price. They could basically double the price and people would still buy it. That shows me, to what Liam just said, that there is an insane amount of money being poured in. It is expected $1.5 trillion towards 2030. Knowing that the chips don't last that long and they will also have to make money on it, at some point, investors will realize, all right, this might be interesting with AI. It's just not good business yet. It will be at some point, but it's as with the internet.
Today's number was 14.6%, and that's probably the number of Nordnet's customers that are super happy right now, because those are the numbers of Nordnet's customers that own NVIDIA stocks. It's 88,000. It is. It's 88,135 people out of 600,000 people more or less, give and take a few thousand, and that is on Nordnet, that owns NVIDIA stock. So how about that? But they're happy people today for sure. This has been sort of an extra show. It doesn't mean that the world doesn't turn and no other numbers are not coming out. We have earnings today from Walmart. That's going to be interesting because, as we talked about yesterday, Hans-Henrik, that is sort of a little microscopic view of what's going on with the Americans. As people,
yeah, and we got from Lowe's and Target yesterday. That was not amazing. So I expect a bit of the same from Walmart.
And then tomorrow on Friday, we have Babcock. We also have MOOC A, a stock that we used to have in the 3-point playbook, which is up by more than 30%, by the way. Liam, we saw a little bit of a sell-off in defense yesterday. You think we're going to see a bounce today, or hope for a bounce today?
It's an interesting one. We don't really live on hope, do we? This is more, does it meet our requirements? Does it meet our strategy? We could well do. There's still a huge wall of money going into defence. Everyone knows we've got to arm up and grow up a bit in Europe, certainly. So I can see that happening. We're into one defence stock at the moment, and that's two.
Indra and Airbus.
Yeah, Airbus as well.
Yeah.
And they've been doing fantastically for us. I mean, Airbus is literally soaring.
And we will dive into the 3-point playbook on Monday. We always do that. That's where we open the playbook and take a closer look. But we will be back on screen. I almost talked Danish there. Be back on screen tomorrow at noon, of course. In the meantime, go visit our webpage. Go visit our social media page on Facebook and stuff like that. See our articles and in-depths that we give up for you. And do send us your question to us at FOMO@mystockscanner.com. Hans-Henrik and Liam will be ready with answers. I'll just ask the questions. Thanks for joining this special edition of My Stock Scanner Live, powered by the 3-point playbook. NVIDIA might be maybe rewriting the rules of the market, but the only question that matters is how you play the next move. Stay sharp, stay curious, and as always, follow the data, not the noise. Ask yourself, is it quality? Does it have an upside? And is now the right time to buy? We'll see you guys tomorrow. No leather jacket tomorrow. I promise that. Happy investing, guys. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.